You ever feel like you moved just before a city blew up? Like, the second you unpack, everyone else decides it's the next Austin? Yeah, been there. The truth is, America's changing fast. People are ditching overpriced metros and heading to places you've never heard of, but probably should. One town doubled its population and cut commute times in half. Another has faster internet than 95% of major U.S. cities. And one has job growth that makes Silicon Valley look unemployed. Think you know the best cities? Let's find out. I've dug through the boring data, so you don't have to. Census trends, job reports, housing market shifts. Yeah, it's nerdy. But it's useful nerdy. From mountain towns with startup scenes to desert cities giving Austin a run for its money, I'm counting down 10 future boomtowns you'll wish you knew before they hit Zillow's sorry, you're too late pricing. And just wait until you hear which Midwest city is quietly becoming a tech hub. And trust me, you're not ready for what's next. Because picking the wrong place to live could cost you thousands. Or your sanity. No pressure. This isn't about hype. It's about the next best places before they go mainstream. Let's break it down. Number 10. Spokane Valley, Washington. Let's kick this off with Spokane Valley, Washington. You're probably thinking, wait, isn't that just Spokane Light? Sort of. It's like Spokane took a chill pill, opened a Costco, and decided traffic was optional. Spokane Valley's rep is growing fast. Wide open spaces, mountain views, no state income tax, and enough big box stores to make your wallet feel safe. It's the kind of place where your neighbors wave with all 5 fingers. But let's zoom in. Median rent, around $1,400, up 30% in the last 5 years. Violent crime rate, 3.1 per 1,000 residents, a bit above the national average, but not Detroit-level panic. Cost of living? Roughly 6% below the national average, so yes, you can still afford eggs and gas. Job growth? Projected to climb 7% by 2026, with logistics and healthcare leading the charge. And here's a gem from Reddit. It's like living in a 2007 Windows XP background with more Subarus. Honestly accurate. Sarcastic punchline? Spokane Valley, where your neighbors own a kayak and argue about property tax caps on Facebook. But it's not all paddleboards and peace signs. The price creep is real. Locals are already side-eyeing California plates like they carry plague. And while the views are stunning, public transport. Let's just say, bring a car. Or a horse. Look, Spokane Valley is great, unless you hate driving behind people going 12 and a 35 because they saw a moose once. Also, can we talk about the coffee? $7 for a medium latte with oat milk and a side eye from a barista in flannel. I'm paying for caffeine, not judgment. Picture it, crisp mountain air. You're sipping a locally roasted coffee on your porch. A bald eagle flies by like it's your HOA president. Then your neighbor's kid launches a dirt bike off a homemade ramp in the cul-de-sac. Welcome to the valley. Think Spokane Valley is a trip? The next city somehow made unexpected tech hub an actual personality trait. Number 9. Fayetteville, Arkansas. Fayetteville, Arkansas. Yes, Arkansas. Stay with me. This place isn't just Razorback football and Dollar Generals every 12 feet, although both are very real. Fayetteville's carving out a serious name for itself. College town energy? Check. Affordable housing? Still check. Close to Walmart HQ in Bentonville? Big OL check. Corporate money is trickling in like maple syrup on a Cracker Barrel pancake. It's a weird combo of brainy, artsy, outdoorsy, and a little yeehaw. And somehow it works. But let's not romanticize too fast. Here's the breakdown. Median rent, about $1,100, still beating the national average like a drum. Cost of living, roughly 10% lower than the U.S. average. Crime rate, about 38 per 1,000 people, mostly petty crime, but still. Lock your bike. Job growth? 4.3% in 2024, and projected to rise even more. Quality of life ranking? Top 5 in U.S. News' best places to live for years. So basically, it's one of the best cities to live in, as long as you don't leave your car unlocked while buying kombucha. Fayetteville's rising fast. That means rent is too. And the once quiet mountain town vibe? It's getting louder. With more growth comes more traffic, more development, and yeah, probably more $9 smoothies. And don't get me started on the weather. One day it's 70 and sunny, the next you're in a tornado drill with a guy named Chuck who swears duct tape will save your windows. Also, the local coffee shop is somehow a chain now. With merch. for a cafe. Calm down, Fayetteville. Picture this. You're biking down the Razorback Greenway, sun on your face, Ozark Mountains in the distance, and someone just handed you a warm cinnamon roll from a food truck called Rollin' with the Homies. Yeah, it's that kind of place. Fayetteville is the only place I've lived where I met a goat on campus and a CEO in the same day. Some guy on Reddit who 100% owns both a hammock and a portfolio. Would you live in a college town after college? Or is that social chaos waiting to happen? Let me know in the comments. If you thought Fayetteville was a surprise, wait until you hear about the town that's quietly building the future of outer space. Number 8. Bozeman, Montana. Bozeman, Montana. Where the people are rugged, the flannel is real, and everyone owns at least 2 pairs of hiking boots, whether they hike or not. This place used to be a quiet, outdoorsy college town tucked between mountain ranges. Fast forward to now, and it's the unofficial capital of Silicon Prairie. Bozeman has become a remote work magnet. Tech bros, nature lovers, and rich retirees all colliding in a town that smells like pine trees and startup ambition. All right, let's rip the Band-Aid. Median home price. Over $750,000. Yes, really. Median rent. Around $2,100. And no, it does not come with free elk sightings. Cost of living? A whopping 20% above the national average. Crime rate? Surprisingly moderate, 19 per 1,000, mostly property crime. Job growth? Climbing steadily at 3.8%, mostly in tech, healthcare, and construction. And here's the twist, people still want in. The lifestyle's that good. Bozeman is where you pay $500,000 for a house and still end up driving behind a Subaru with 2 kayaks and a bumper sticker that says, "Save the moose, eat the rich." Now, let's be honest, Bozeman's gorgeous, but it's not cheap. You're trading affordability for postcard views and artisanal dog treats. Bozeman weather is basically mood swings in the form of precipitation. Snow in the morning, sun at noon, hail by dinner. And yes, there are 4 coffee shops named some version of Bear and Bean, and all of them charge $6.75 for something called a campfire core to do. Picture this. You're on your porch, holding a locally roasted espresso in a biodegradable cup. The air smells like pine and ambition. A deer walks by like it pays rent. You're either in a nature documentary or Bozeman. Pause. Let me hit you with a stat that'll ruin your Zillow hopes. The average condo in Bozeman now costs more than a house in Cleveland and comes with 1 parking spot and a compost bin. Remember Spokane Valley with the $1,400 rent? Yeah, Bozeman looked at that and said, "Hold my granola." And if you think Bozeman is wild, the next place somehow made weird a competitive sport. Number 7. Huntsville, Alabama. Okay, raise your hand if you thought Alabama would make a future boomtown list. No one thought so, but welcome to Huntsville. Or as I like to call it, Nerdvana in the Deep South. It's home to NASA's Marshall Space Flight Center, more engineers than you can shake a graphing calculator at, and a surprisingly livable vibe for a city where rockets are literal. Picture Silicon Valley, but everyone owns a smoker and says y'all. Now let's talk data. Job growth. Huntsville added over 10,000 jobs in the last 2 years, mostly in aerospace, defense, and biotech. Cost of living, around 12% below the national average. Median rent, roughly $1,200, with enough square footage to host a rocket launch in your living room. Crime rate, a mixed bag, violent crime at 7.4 per 1,000, above average, but mostly isolated pockets. Quality of life, high. Good schools, great parks, and fiber internet. Yes, really. Reddit quote, Huntsville is where you can work for NASA and still afford a 3-bedroom house. Just don't expect decent Thai food. So yeah, you can literally help build a moon lander here, but good luck finding sushi that doesn't come in a gas station cooler. The upside? You'll probably save money and grow a career in a city that isn't bleeding residents or overrun with scooters. But let's talk trade-offs. Look, I love Huntsville, but why does everyone here drive like they just learned how yesterday? You've got aerospace engineers solving orbital mechanics, but can't figure out a 4-way stop. Also, every summer day feels like you're walking through soup. Thick, sweaty, thunderstorm-flavored soup. Imagine this. You're sipping sweet tea on a porch swing, the smell of barbecue in the air, and a rocket launch in the distance, casual. The cicadas are loud, the Wi-Fi is fast, and your mortgage isn't crushing your soul. That's Huntsville. Imagine waking up in a quiet neighborhood where the biggest morning decision is whether to grill tonight or not. Your house cost half of what it would in Austin, and your commute? 10 minutes, tops. Stats don't lie. Huntsville ranks high in livability, and it's only gaining momentum. Funny how Huntsville, Alabama is launching satellites, while Oakland, California can't even launch a trash pickup on time. Remember Bozeman with its $2,100 rent and part-time help neighbors? Huntsville looked at that and said, hold my barbecue tongs. And if you think Huntsville is surprising, the next town somehow turned a sleepy riverfront into a startup haven. Number 6. Greenville, Carolina. Greenville, South Carolina. Not to be confused with every other Greenville in the U.S. Seriously, there are like 30. This one's the real deal. What used to be just a sleepy textile town now feels like someone hit urban glow-up on SimCity. You've got cobblestone streets, rooftop bars, and a downtown waterfall park that looks like a stock photo from a startup brochure. Locals describe it as Charleston's cooler, cheaper cousin, which is true if Charleston stopped charging you $18 for shrimp and grits. Now for the reality check. Median home price, around $335,000, up nearly 42% in 5 years. Rent, $1, $400 for a one-bedroom. Still decent, until the next Californians show up. Cost of living, 8% lower than the national average. Job market, growing fast, BMW, Michelin, and a booming startup scene. Violent crime rate, around 5.3 per 1,000, higher than the U.S. average, but mostly clustered outside the city core. Living in Greenville is like being in a Hallmark movie, except the traffic makes you want to punch Santa. So basically, it's Southern charm, with a side of gridlock and passive-aggressive turn signals. But here's the kicker. Move here now, and you're catching Greenville mid-boom. The kind of moment before the brunch lines get too long, and the rent doubles. You'll gain small-town vibes with actual city amenities, but lose your sanity during rush hour behind someone trying to parallel park a pickup the size of a school bus. Greenville is gorgeous, no question, but the humidity? It's like wearing a damp wool blanket in July during a fire drill. Also, why does every coffee shop sound like a craft brewery? I don't want a cold-pressed unicorn foam nitro lavender latte. I want coffee. You know, hot bean juice. Picture yourself sipping sweet tea on a wraparound porch while cicadas scream their little summer lungs out. Downtown's lit up with string lights, someone's playing acoustic guitar near the Reedy River, and you almost forget you had to parallel park in a panic 10 minutes ago. Would you trade big city chaos for small town charm if it meant dealing with 99% humidity and 3-hour brunch waits? Let me know below if you think Greenville's got personality. Wait till you see what happens when cowboys, crypto, and craft beer collide. Alright, quick pit stop before we dive back into our Boomtown bonanza. Did you know Greenville, South Carolina literally has a statue of a wild boar downtown named Il Porcellino? It's a replica of the one in Florence. Locals rub its nose for good luck, because apparently nothing says economic growth like touching a metal pig in humidity. And get this, Idaho Falls is one of the only small cities in the U.S. with gig-speed fiber internet citywide. Yep, you can stream 4K cat videos faster than most of New York. Progress, baby. And hey, if you stuck around long enough to remember my rant about overpriced lavender lattes in Greenville, you know who you are. Respect. You've earned your honorary soy milk survivor badge. A man in Spokane once got arrested for chasing a moose through traffic. On foot. In flip-flops. This has nothing to do with real estate. I just needed you to know. Anyway, next up, let's just say the next town on our list makes cowboy hats, crypto bros, and kombucha somehow work. Yeah, let that mental image sink in. Let's keep it rolling. Number 5. Idaho Falls. Idaho. Let's talk about Idaho Falls. Yes, it's in Idaho. No, it's not just potatoes and pickup trucks, although, yeah, there are a lot of those. This place has been flying under the radar for years, quietly stacking wins while everyone else was busy chasing overpriced condos in Austin. It's got a strong outdoors vibe, low-key tech jobs, and just enough civilization to remind you you're not trapped in survivalist TikTok. But here's the kicker. Idaho Falls is not just livable, it's shockingly smart. Unemployment rate, just 2.3%. Yep, basically everyone has a job. Cost of living? Around 13% below the national average. Your money stretches like yoga pants in January. Median rent? About $1,150 for a one-bed. Quality of life score? 7.2/10, thanks to low commute times and access to national parks. Crime rate? Slightly above national average, 3.8 per 1,000, mostly petty theft and bad aim with shopping carts. And check this quote from a local. It's like living inside a Patagonia ad if the ad also featured nuclear scientists and semi-feral deer. So it's basically a mountain town with brains. Think Yellowstone meets LinkedIn. Financially, it's a win. You're not drowning in rent, you're surrounded by good jobs, especially in clean energy and healthcare, and the air actually smells like air. But there's always a catch. Look, I love a rustic town, but why is the weather trying to kill you every other week? One day it's snowing sideways, the next it's sunburn in 5 minutes. And don't get me started on wind. It's like the whole city lives inside a hair dryer on full blast. Also, 14 coffee shops, 0 baristas who know what extra hot means. Fix it. Imagine walking outside to snow-dusted mountains glowing in golden morning light. A herd of elk wanders nearby. You sip your coffee, hear nothing. Then a gust of wind slaps the lid off your cup and your hat flies into Montana. Welcome to Idaho Falls. If you thought Idaho Falls was underrated, wait until you see the next town that's quietly turning into the Silicon Valley of the South. Number 4. Round Rock, Texas. Welcome to Round Rock, Texas, aka Austin's more stable, less pretentious sibling. It's the place where you can work in tech, own a home, and not have to dodge electric scooters driven by guys named Skylar in startup hoodies. Round Rock has the proximity perks of Austin without the chaos. You're 20 minutes from downtown on a good traffic day, but far enough to actually hear birds instead of brunch DJs. It's suburban, safe, shockingly functional, and yeah, it's starting to blow up. Let's break it down. Median home price? $370,000. That's $130,000, less than Austin. Rent? $1,450 per month average for a one-bedroom, affordable by Texas Tech Corridor standards. Job market? Strong. Dell's HQ is here, plus plenty of spillover from Austin's tech boom. Violent crime rate? 1.9 per 1,000. Safer than a Whole Foods parking lot. Cost of living? About 4% below the national average. Local Redditor sums it up best. It's like Austin without the attitude. Or the $17 breakfast tacos. So basically it's Austin if Austin got a decent night's sleep and didn't try to sell you NFT art during brunch. But don't get too cozy. The secret's out. Developers are swarming and the affordable label is hanging by a thread. If you're thinking of moving here, do it before every backyard becomes a craft brewery. Round Rock is awesome, but why does every driver treat blinkers like a government secret? Also, their traffic lights? They last longer than most people's relationships. You could finish a podcast episode before turning left. Oh, and don't trust the weather. Sunny in the morning, flash flood by lunch. Texas things. Picture it, you're sipping coffee on a clean, quiet street while kids ride scooters, and the neighbor's dog is named something adorable like Biscuit. You drive 15 minutes, and suddenly, you're in a tech mecca. Backyard barbecue, Wi-Fi faster than your last job, and nobody's trying to freestyle at your gas station. Round Rock, folks. Round Rock's crime rate is lower than Naperville, Illinois, and Naperville has literally nothing going on except wine moms and mall walkers. Explain that. Think Round Rock is the peak of balance. Wait till you see the town that's becoming a boomtown with a side of nuclear energy. Yeah, buckle up. Number 3. Sioux Falls, South Dakota. Coming in at number 3 is the city you probably didn't see coming, Sioux Falls, South Dakota. Yes, South Dakota. The land of Mount Rushmore, bison, and exactly 2 Starbucks. But here's the twist. Sioux Falls is kind of crushing it. It's like the overachiever of the Midwest, quiet, efficient, and somehow getting things done while nobody's paying attention. Think clean streets, a shockingly stable economy, and a downtown that feels like a Hallmark movie backdrop, if the movie had a decent job market. Let's talk numbers. Median rent, $1,150 per month for a one-bedroom, way below national average. Unemployment rate, just 2.1%, basically zero. Cost of living, 10% below the U.S. average. Violent crime rate, 4.4 per 1,000, above average, but mostly minor offenses. Job market, booming, especially in healthcare, finance, and logistics. And here's a local Reddit gem. Sioux Falls is where you go to be left alone, make good money, and complain about the wind. It's like the Midwest said, we'll skip the hype and just function properly. So what's the catch? Well, prepare your face. Winter will slap it. The wind chill could rebrand your soul. But that's the price of peace, prosperity, and not paying state income tax. Sioux Falls is great until you try to drive in the snow behind a dude who's never heard of four-wheel drive. And somehow it's always either freezing, windy, or freezing and windy. You don't walk your dog here, you negotiate with it. Imagine stepping outside to a crisp, quiet morning. You can hear snow crunch under your boots. The streets are clean, the air smells like pine, and the line at the coffee shop is one person long. You've got gig-speed internet, a 15-minute commute, and money left over at the end of the month. Stats never looked so cozy. Sioux Falls is the kind of place where you run into your dentist at the grocery store and your plumber at church, and you're cool with both. Sioux Falls is solid, but next up? Let's just say the next town mixed desert heat, digital nomads, and HOA-free living, and made it weirdly work. Number 2. Peoria, Arizona. Coming in at number 2 is Peoria, Arizona, aka Phoenix's cooler, more organized cousin. Peoria is like if suburban comfort met desert vibes and said, let's build a golf course and a Costco on every block. It's clean, it's shiny, and it's growing fast. Master plan communities, top-rated schools, mountain trails, and enough sunshine to make your vitamin D levels obnoxiously high. Yeah, Peoria is where the we want space, but we don't want to live in the middle of nowhere crowd ends up, and it's working. Now for the stats. Population growth, plus 16% in the last decade. Median home price, $435,000, but still cheaper than neighboring Scottsdale. Average rent, $1,600 for a one-bedroom. Crime rate, 2.4 per 1,000, safer than most of Phoenix. Cost of living, about 2% above national average, mostly due to housing. And here's a Reddit quote that says it all. Peoria's great unless you hate roundabouts and perfectly trimmed hedges. So basically, it's HOA heaven with mountain views. And yes, the sidewalks are cleaner than my entire apartment. But here's the thing. As more Californians flee to the desert, prices are creeping up. Fast. And good luck finding shade in July. Peoria heat doesn't just cook you, it roasts your hope. Okay, can we talk about the weather? Peoria in July is like walking into an open-air toaster oven. Also, why does every new home look like it was copy-pasted from a SimCity pack called Desert Beige Vibes? And don't even try turning left at 4 p.m. Those intersections are war zones. Picture this. Golden hour, quiet streets, palm trees swaying, distant mountains glowing red under a fiery sunset. You're sipping cold brew on your patio, dry heat sure, but it beats scraping ice off your windshield. Your AC hums in the background. And hey, the neighbors waved again. Weird, but nice. Peoria's polished, sunny, and growing fast. But the next town? Let's just say it's where startup bros and moonshiners might actually coexist. Number 1. Chattanooga, Tennessee. Alright, we've made it. Number 1. The boomtown that's been quietly outpacing expectations like a sleeper pick in fantasy football. Welcome to Chattanooga, Tennessee, the town with a name you can't say 3 times fast without sounding drunk and the actual fastest internet in the US. Yep. Before you laugh at the name, just know, this southern gem was the first city in America to offer gig-speed fiber internet, citywide. While some towns were still buffering in 720p, Chattanooga was streaming 4K with zero lag. It's got mountains, a riverfront, a startup scene, and somehow a legit aquarium in the middle of Tennessee. Weird flex, but okay. Let's dig in. Median rent, $1,350 as of 2024. Median home price, $295,000. You're welcome, Californians. Cost of living, 10 to 12% below the national average. Violent crime rate, 6.1 per 1,000, higher than average, but largely concentrated in certain pockets. Job growth, up 3.6% YOY, led by logistics, healthcare, and weirdly tech. Local quote from Reddit sums it up. Chattanooga is like Asheville's younger brother that got into crypto and learned how to code. It's the only place you'll see a guy wearing Carhartt and debugging JavaScript from a kayak. Chattanooga's growth isn't just hype. It's attracting remote workers, startups, and creatives without losing its southern soul. Yet. But be warned, prices are climbing, and traffic is starting to mimic Atlanta on a Red Bull drip. Still, if you want a town with character, nature, and Wi-Fi that could launch a rocket, this is it. Look, I love the vibe here, but let's talk about the weather. It's either soupy humidity or a tornado watch. There is no in between. Also, why does every local coffee shop have 5 names and sell beard oil next to the espresso machine? I just want caffeine, not skincare. Picture this. You're walking downtown on a breezy spring morning. A jazz band is playing on the corner, the mountains loom in the distance, and your Wi-Fi is so fast, your Zoom meeting finishes before it starts. You grab lunch by the river. A paddleboarder waves. You wave back. Yeah, Chattanooga's doing something right. Remember when I said Idaho Falls had fiber internet? Yeah, Chattanooga walked so they could stream. Wait, did I just hype a Tennessee town for tech? 2025 is wild, folks. Next, we'll be saying Nebraska is a fashion capital. Actually, don't quote me. So what did we learn? Across the country, from Idaho Falls to Chattanooga, small and mid-sized cities are stepping up, offering faster internet, stronger economies, and actual quality of life without requiring you to auction off a kidney for rent. The post-pandemic migration didn't just reshuffle where people live. It redefined why they live there. People want space, affordability, and maybe, just maybe, a neighbor who won't rage park a bird scooter in your driveway. Here's the thing. You don't have to live in a megacity to build a big life anymore. The real Boomtowns, they're the ones that give you time back, peace, potential, and yeah, maybe a craft beer taproom inside a converted post office, because we're still Americans. You're not just picking a place to live, you're picking your next chapter. Choose wisely. And hey, maybe get ahead of the crowd for once. Funny how Sioux Falls has a lower crime rate than New Orleans French Quarter, even though one has jazz and the other has tractors. Wild, right? Hit subscribe, pack a bag, and I'll see you there.